Common Sense Media activated.
You are now entering Dad Mode, a podcast with a dad's eye view. And we are your hosts, the Dad of Steel,
E. James.
and I'm your friendly neighborhood amazing dad, Rich. How's it going today?
Hey, I like it, man. I like it. Taking turns on the intro duty. Good job, my brother.
Yeah. I gotta put a little swag in it. There you go.
Yeah, brother.
So yeah. So how you doing today?
Doing well, man. I'm excited. We got some big things popping today. I got even bigger things popping tomorrow. No disrespect to you, fine gentlemen. And yes, I did say gentlemen. But before we talk about this other individual, tell them what we're talking about, man.
Well, we're going to talk about how children imitate fathers. And we're going to talk about specifically personality traits and how one may address the negative aspect of certain traits and then also tendencies. And in this episode, we're going to call it like father, like child, exploring the power of imitation. Just think of that.
I like it. Yeah. This sounds very professional.
Yeah. We're it's really nice, and it's a good little thing we're gonna be doing here. So yeah. So
man,
what you got going?
I'm mad excited, man. Well, I want to bring in our guest here and what we're calling in our new coin term, the dad voice. So the dad voice isn't necessarily like a guest. They're kind of like a guest / co-host.
Yeah.
And, they get to kind of take a ride with us through this podcast. And our goal is to do a lot more of these. So without further ado, I introduce the world to Mr. Tre M, a.k.a. at Marshall on Mics 3.
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on, Marsh?
What's going on, man? Pleasure to be here, man. I love what you guys got going on, man. I'm excited to be a part of this.
There you go. Yeah, I'm glad that you're here, man. And I've known you for a while now, and you're starting to, you're growing into a well accomplished individual, and I love it. I love seeing you grow and being a part of this podcast, and I love the show that you've been doing with on Wave of Future, you and E, and man, y'all is gonna be really good. So yeah, welcome aboard.
Man. Thank you for being a part of this, man. This means a lot to both of us. You're family, but Tre is technically my cousin, but he's my brother, and he's like one of my best friends. Period. So, man, this means a lot to have you as our first guest. Kind of kept it in house. It was kind of easy for us to do, but you have a really good viewpoint on the world and the unique in a lot of ways. So I think going through this journey with us will be pretty special.
I absolutely agree, man, and I'm absolutely honored to be here. Again, thank you very much for the kind words all the way around. We're just doing this thing called life and doing it with little ones now and running around and having, I guess, a grand old time. I sound like my grandmother. Oh man,
grand old time.
Man, I haven't heard that in a while.
So you got any shout outs you want to give Big Rich?
Well, I want to give a shout out to my lovely wife. Once again, she does wonderful things. And, as you've seen it, we got our social media up and got the Instagram up, and she did all the graphics when it came to the Dad Mode logo and the cover art. And she's, doing great jobs when she comes to you guys on your show, Wave of Future. And so, yeah, it's going to be a really good thing. I want to give her a gratitude. Yeah. I love you, baby.
Yeah.
Keep supporting me so I can keep supporting you. Yeah.
Yeah. Big up, man. Big up. The Chasm team's getting stronger, man. I love it. What about you, Tre?
I'm going to piggyback actually on Rich a little bit. Give a big shout out to my wife for this one. I know we've had some just a lot of things kind of going on as a rate, especially me. I've had a lot of things kind of going on. And she steps up to the plate, not just for me, but for my family, helping my mom out, taking her places. So just want to say thank you for doing what you do.
I love it, man. We're going to end up being a 3 the wife way, but I'm going to say real quick, shout out and happy heavenly birthday. Tomorrow's our grandmother's birthday, Tre and I's. So we love you. We miss you. Been a year since you've been gone, but never forgotten. I'm also, before I get to my wife, I want to give you 2 specific shout outs. Rich was my best man and Tre was my ring bearer about 13 years ago when I got married. So you guys were there, part of a very special day for me. I appreciate you both. And without further ado, I'd like to say happy anniversary and shout out to my wife. Tomorrow's the day, 13 years.
13 years though?
Yeah,
My
man.
goodness.
Yeah,
Jeez.
man. It's been a while.
Man.
She's still here, guys.
Yeah, I know. How could she do it? But I
just went to check downstairs to make sure the door wasn't swinging. Nope, she's still here.
Yeah, and I remember that wedding, man. It was a blast. Yeah, it was one of my few moments in my life where I felt really good. Just like, oh man, got to see my dude, best friend, get married, man. It's like, So yeah, it's crazy how time goes and the path we've been on.
To sound like, to make people give me an eyebrow raise. Time is time, and time waits for no man. You can get a lot of things back. You can't get time back, man. So it's just crazy. I'm glad that the time that I can't get back was well spent with that very fine individual who I call wife.
Yeah,
and apparently y'all feel the same way about your wives too. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do one more round of applause for the ladies.
Where my ladies at? My ladies at?
All right, let's get into it.
You can bleep that out. That was kind of weird. That came out of nowhere.
No, we keeping that.
I like it.
That happens.
All right, go ahead, man.
So before we dive into the topic, so Mars, tell us about yourself. A little bit about yourself.
Well, it's Tre off a Wave of the Few Shores, where you might have known me or heard me, coming around with the wonderful crew we've got over there. I'm married 6 years, 6.5, together 7, 8, I think. Don't
worry,
take me for that one, man.
Don't worry.
I know the day I got married though. I got that one.
I can't fact check that one for you.
Yeah, I got that one. So there's too many days. 2 kids, 2 little girls, 6 and 2. So life is a blur, I guess you can say, with the way these guys are going and growing. I was just talking to my wife the other day. My kid was asleep in our bed, the 2-year-old, and just looking at her, dude, she's like so long. So it's just, that's life for me, man. It's work, kids, podcasts, wife, repeat. That's just the name of the game, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Have you always wanted to be a dad?
Yeah. Always wanted to be a dad. Relished the opportunity, really. Came a little earlier than I guess I expected it to, but no regrets. As far as that's concerned, it's probably the greatest honor I've ever had in my life, honestly. Being a dad, these little gremlins.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, that's how I feel the same way. Yeah, that's the way it goes, And so, what's your origin story like when it comes to you becoming a dad? You remember that moment?
I mean, the origin story.
We don't want to know the grave details.
Wait a minute. What part of the origin are we looking for here?
It was a clear black night. No.
Man, for me, that was a crazy time becoming a dad. I was 23. I had just really gotten promoted at work. I was working in the restaurant, serving bartending, got promoted into management. So it was kind of a wild time for me. I remember 6 16 hours of labor. I think my wife was in labor for 16 hours with the first one. It's just, there's so many feelings and emotions. It's all really a rush, right? The whole days leading up to it. Can say I, made it to every appointment, at least for the first one. Every appointment, got to go through the whole experience. It was amazing. Nothing ever top in my life. And sorry, I guess to the other kids, there's no favorites, but one thing I'll never forget is looking at that kid. They hand you that kid for the first time, or wife's passed out in the bed and just, in the little crate bassinet makeshift thing they have in the hospital.
Yeah,
man, it just changes everything in life.
That's beautiful, man.
Question though, I mean, this is off topic. Did anybody else watch the whole thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, her mom was there. My sister was there. I think that was it. In the room. And then other people in the waiting room. My mom did make it. I was salty about that for a long time. Got over it now. Auntie Jean had just passed, I think, Eric.
Yeah.
So can't be mad. But yeah, everybody was there. It was a long day, man. I'll never forget that day. We got to the hospital like 3 a.m. I don't think the first one was born at 7:12 p.m. or 7:11 p.m.
Wow, he's even got the times, making me look bad.
Oh man!
So
the only reason I know that
you
is
get 2 lifelines in this show.
The only reason I know that I was born at 7:11 a.m. and she was born at the same time, but in the evening. So that's the only reason. Up. And then I remember going to the hospital because I got woken up and had to go to the hospital. In between that, though, I don't remember anything.
Everything was a blur, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's how it goes, man. Especially that you said you had 2 children. So was the second one was it different or was it the same kind of emotion?
It was totally different. COVID baby. Totally different. I didn't get to go to a lot of the doctor's appointments. I would have to wait in the car, and drop her off, wait in the car in the parking lot. She comes back. Nobody was allowed to be there. There was nobody in the wait. My mom was in town for that one, but she couldn't go to the hospital, but she watched the other one. So she was there and was a great help, but C-section second time around. I don't know if I should tell people that, but there's just so many
part of life.
There are so many differences between the first one and the second one. And watching them as they grow, it makes sense from the 2 pregnancies and everything. Cause that second child is nothing like the first. Like nothing like the first. And people say it's a different side of the same coin. No, the other one's a coin. The other one's like a dollar bill or something. I don't know. It's just totally different type of materials that are going on there. It's a trip.
So true.
So what kind of dad are you?
That's a good question, man. A good dad, right? That's what everybody hopes to be.
Try to be.
I guess I would say, I don't know. I'm a hands-on dad. You have to wear so many different hats as a dad, right? The disciplinary voice in the house, the fun one, not the fun one, but I don't know. Dads are big toys, right? But I just try to be as hands-on as I can. For a long time, I worked a really demanding schedule. So it kind of just shrank the ability or the opportunity, I guess, to be as hands-on as I want. So lately, that's been something I'm trying to do. Let's go outside. Took the girls outside for a bike ride the other day. It's just, little things, but hands-on. Try to be there. I'm always checking backpacks. What did you have? What did you learn in school today? What's going on with homework? Get
That's
off
awesome.
the tablet. Let's go outside. Or, hey, let's play Lego, the Lego movie video game. Just be there. Do stuff.
All around dad, man. I love it. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man. And that's there's 2 things I'd like to kind of key in on that you said. You said like being the toy. There's actually in that book all 3 of us read, The Daily Dad. There's a section called "You Are the Toy," and it's crazy how especially I find it true for my son, how life gets busy and you're like, man, I just don't have time for certain things. But then you realize a lot of the time, they don't even really want you to do much. It's about being there. Mm-hmm. Just like you said, man, just being there. Like you just check a box. You do 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You know, you play one round of Well, I don't play Mortal Kombat with my son. That's probably not. That'll get some pitchforks coming at me. You play what? That's why he's crazy. No, I'm playing. But you know, we'll play like Ninja Turtles on the PS5, you know, or whatever. We'll do like a single round of time. We're time crunch. Okay, we beat stage 5. I got to split, man. You know, but it's that time that you make with them where they're just like, okay, cool. You check that box, you spent that time, and then you just being thorough, like you're saying, you're asking them how their day was. I think as parents, we forget that a lot, you know, to check in with them. They're little people too. You know, they could have a rough day. So I love hearing that, man. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it is, you know, being an all around dad compared to being a not anywhere dad is awesome. You know, there needs to be more dads like that, you know, if possible in the world.
Absolutely.
You know, one thing I can say about that, I think that goes back to my gratitude. It's a lot easier to be the all around, all the time dad when the partnership is good. You know, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. So, you know, I'm not a perfect dad. Yeah, there are days I come home and I don't do much and I just sit on the couch and I play my video games, or maybe a Sunday and it's y'all go to the other side of the house. The Cowboys are playing. I don't want to hear nothing right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
You know, not perfect dad, but just again, given the opportunity to have the cohesion and, you know that whatever I do, I've got, somebody's got your back. That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah. That's what's up. So what does dad mode mean to you?
It's like Dragon Ball Z reference. Y'all don't watch Dragon Ball Z. It's like Ultra Instinct. It's that's
I'm actually familiar with that.
Okay. Top tier kind of, you know, you don't think you do, which isn't exactly true because you have to think as when you're a dad, everything you do with your child has, you know, there's thought behind it, consequences, opportunities. But dad mode to me is just being able to them seem like I'm an Ultra Instinct, right? Like whatever happens, it seems like it's quick, it's natural, dad always knows. They're young, so it's a little easier for me, but I don't know. That's dad mode for me. Whenever controversy or any type of situation arises, you know, dad's going to be in the mode and he's going to take care of it. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular dad mode? Do you think you have a particular dad mode? Maybe.
The toy is probably the particular dad mode. Honestly, that's or at least the most utilized dad mode. My kids are always climbing me. I'm teaching Isri to fight, so she's always punching me, trying to hit me, trying to catch me. I'm a bad dad. My kids walk, I trip them. Not in an area where they can get hurt. But they're doing it to me too. It's like a thing that we do coming around. So that's me in the majority of time, unless I have to be something different. But you know, fun. Hey, until the tablets get on my nerve and I gotta take them away and lock them up.
Yeah. And I think that was another thing that you said that's really good. You know, you said the toy, but we as fathers, right, wear multiple hats. And so, like, your dad mode can switch. You know, it's almost like when you watch we just watched Blue Beetle last night. And so it's like he was ready to, the suit initially was ready to go into kill mode right away. Finish him, you know. It's like sometimes you got to get tough mode. Sometimes you got to be fun mode, you know. And whatever that mode might be, you do it up as dad, as pops, as papa, you know, you're in it to win it. So I think that was cool that you kind of like picked that particular part of the dad mode.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. So, what are your kids into, Mars?
Well, the little one's easy. Cocomelon, Baby Shark. That one's easy.
It's a Cocomelon. What's that?
It's a show. It's like they sing. It's a kid's show. I probably shouldn't let her watch it. People tell me it's not good, but she absolutely loves it. She can wake up, get out of the bed, go in the living room, turn the TV on, get to Netflix, turn on Cocomelon. And Cocomelon. Okay. So that's easy.
We all know Baby Shark, so you don't go there.
Yeah,
At least I hope we all know about Baby Shark. Maybe he doesn't.
Oh gosh, that whole song.
I do. I do.
You guys ever heard of Yo Gabba Gabba?
Of course.
Oh, is that too? Yeah. Okay. Were your kids into that?
No.
No. Okay,
not really.
So it was just my son. Man. All right.
No,
I just wanted. Yeah.
No. My son was into Blippi, and the girls were into Frozen, and one was into Bubble Guppies.
Oh, Bubble Guppies.
Yeah, and then my oldest was into, before we had like a lot of options, because we cut the cord with cable right before we got married, and so we didn't have a lot of options when she was born, streaming wise. It was still building out, so she watched Super Y on PBS.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's why she liked reading so much. You know, she watched Super Y and all this educational stuff, and she also we did the whole Baby Geniuses thing, or Baby Einsteins. The other two, they weren't feeling that. They were just like, I don't know, I ain't with this. So
my son was.
So you're into sports. You mentioned the Cowboys, and if anybody heard our episode of WFS Wemby of the Future and the Josh Primo stuff, they'll know we're very much into basketball. So what kind of sports do you think your kids would play, or what could you see them playing based on what you've seen in them? Or do you think that they'd be into sports at all?
I do think they'll be into sports. Sadly, I don't think they'll be into the sports that I like, at least the oldest as of yet. I think for her, I would love for her to be a basketball kid. I probably could have put in some more time and some more effort. I don't want to force anything on her, but soccer, gymnastics, cheerleading, she's that type of girl. I can just kind of see it already. There's some show on Netflix. I couldn't tell you the name of it to save my life. But basically it's like a preteen gymnastic show. And she loves it, and she'll be doing cartwheels around the house, and she really wants to do that. I'm actually thinking about hopefully being able to put her in some sort of gymnastic program.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Soccer runs in her blood, so she's good at it. She is. We kick it, play around. I think her foot-eye coordination is a little better than her hand-eye in that regard. So those will really be it for her. The littler one, I actually think she might do basketball. I'm like, Lord knows that I'm like praying and crossing fingers and like doing rituals, whatever I got to do to get this one to be a basketball player. I bought her the little hoop that you start off with. She's already 3 levels up. It's basically about 4 or 5 feet, and she'll just in, and she loves it. But then she gets sidetracked because she's small and goes around doing something else. But that one, I'm hoping. I'm hoping I get one ball player.
No, man. Well, thank you for letting us grill you, man. We hope that was beneficial for the listeners. We want you all to be able to kind of get to know the person who's riding this dad wave with us. So before we get rolling into the main topic, do either of you want to share a dad moment? This is a new segment where we are introducing here, where we share a memorable experience. You guys have any that you can think of?
Let's go with the guest first.
Yeah.
Put him on the spot.
Throw me on the spot. Ooh, the sizzle comes.
The pressure.
See.
Dad moment.
This is when you can use one of your lifelines.
Man, that's a great question. Every moment's a dad moment, really, but you have to think, if I had to like think of one or put one out there, really a good one. It's easy for me. It's a couple of days ago, man. This is the type of dad I am. I came home. I was off. It was Thursday. Kids come home. We're doing stuff, washing dishes, cleaning up. It's like 6 o'clock. Do y'all want to do something? No, they're on their tablets. Like, I get my phone out, lock the internet. All right, what are we going to do? I don't know. Why don't we go ride our bikes? 30 minutes, take the kids out, ride the bikes around the neighborhood. I know I talked about it, but you put me on the spot. So this is the easiest thing to come back to.
Hey, it's all good.
But that's, getting both of them engaged and giving the lady friend, not the lady friend, the wife. I'm going to for that one.
Like friend? I'll edit that out of the show.
I own my mistakes. Look, but giving her a piece, a quiet, a good hour of peace and quiet, no kids. It's when you get multiple, it's like, okay, you take one or you take two and I'll take the other, divide and conquer. So being able to, scoop and take them both out and up and down the street, trying to get the big one off of training wheels. So, that's it. That's the dad mode moment, right? Getting them off the tablet to be active into the sun for a little bit.
Man, that is appreciative.
Yes,
that is
super,
awesome.
seriously. Yeah. Sorry.
Man. I mean, I was going to say, man, when we grew up, man, we didn't have all this stuff that kids have nowadays. And you want to, at least in my opinion, try to get them into that type of mode when it comes to off the tablets and off the electronic devices, video games, and be able to, I live in Alaska, so we don't have a lot of sun. So, but you can do other things like board games or, I don't know, just read a book together or something. But yeah, that's awesome that you are able to, at least I know I could probably do it too, turn the internet off and just say, hey, let's go do something outside the house. And I'm the same way. Like I go and take the kids, take them away from the wife, especially if she had a hard day at work, and go and just do something with them totally away from her so she can relax, because she sacrificed her time in the day that she worked, and now let her enjoy it without having kids. And so, yeah, that's just how it goes. You got to do that. You got to do that.
That's it.
What about you, Rich? You got any?
Well, my dad moment, we did this my son asked me about watching that new Ninja Turtle movie. I wasn't going to see it at first because it was like, I'm not a big avid goer to the movie theater because, I don't want to pay $100 for 4 people, especially when it comes to nowadays prices. But, he wanted to do this, and he's the type of person that doesn't like to vocalize what he wants to do. Sometimes we'll be like, oh, so what do you want to do? Oh, no. You sure you don't? Oh, no. So he actually mentioned it, and we went through with it, and that was really awesome just to go see that Ninja Turtle movie, which, I think you guys both seen it, and which was like a pretty awesome movie. So
it was.
Yeah, I mean, that moment was really good. And of course, just to pinpoint a moment, it was really hard. But yeah, we got more stories to go throughout this entire podcast. We don't want to put all of our moments on one episode, but yeah, at least the most recent one, that was a really good moment just to be able to go and take the whole family, and because we all went as a family, which is really cool. And of course, we didn't have the devices of the phones and everything like that. Which, I mean, yeah, you got the big 100-foot screen or whatever size it is, but you at least got to do it amongst a family. What about you, E?
Yeah, man, mine, I'll go more recent as well. So my younger daughter started her second season of basketball yesterday. And, a couple weeks ago. She had game 3 yesterday. And the first 2 games, the effort wasn't quite there, especially given the training she's been through and what we saw her do the first season she played in the spring. And we had a pretty good talk with her last game when we were like, look, dude, don't care if you're the best player, but you got to give effort. You just try. And I tell every kid I've coached and work with, hey, defense is like 80% effort, maybe 70% when you get at a higher level, but it's still majority effort and less about skill. You got to want to stop somebody more than then, or you got to want to try to stop them, right? And so, and my younger daughter, she's got a really good little mid-range jumper. She could shoot around the key really well, like in and outside the box. So yesterday, I told her I've been giving my daughters, when they have their games, a keyword to focus on, and then like a main one, then the sub one. And so this game yesterday, I told my younger one, I said, hey, focus, and help your teammates. Help. You see somebody struggling, help. Get to the ball. You see them getting beat by their man, help them. Focus, just look around, right? Yesterday, she went ape. Dude, she shut down people left and right. And if comparing the two girls that play ball, my older daughter is more offensive minded. She's a facilitator. She gets to the basket pretty easily. Her ball handling is incredible. She can shoot. She can attack. My younger daughter is going to be, I would, in her range, like a 3-and-D type player. She's coming off injuring her wrist last week, so she didn't want to handle the ball at all. But she got in front of people bigger than her. This kid was like probably my height almost, and 4th or 5th grade. And every time this dude would get her, he would try to back her down. He would score. Dude, he would tap his wrist and do the Dame time. I gotta send y'all the video, man. He hits the Dame time a few times. But anyway, she was closing out on the ball handler and just forcing him in the traps left and right. And she even scored a bucket. And the big moment for yesterday is when she scored her bucket, she ran down the court going, she was like, I got it. And so I talked to her yesterday. I said, look, this is what happens when you try. And then today I asked her, just out of curiosity, this is kind of me double tapping the dad moment. So I'm sorry. We'll move it quick. Today I asked her, you want to watch some game film to kind of see what worked, what didn't? We spent an hour earlier today just going like clip by clip, because I did it. I film every quarter and I stop, right? So every quarter, just kind of like showing her, hey, here's where you're in position. Here's where you're out of position. When you see 2 people on the ball, don't be the third. Drop back and look to cover down, because if they make a pass to somebody wide open, you want to play the passing lane. You know what I mean? Or at least force them to pass away from you because they know that you're covering down on somebody, stuff like that. But it was just a really cool thing to sit down with her and like really analyze the game, and then see the game that she had yesterday, which was, a great game. But like to follow up, man, that just made my day.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, we do the same with my son. He plays basketball, and we do the videos. But the only thing I do is I make them watch them, because a lot of kids, they don't watch themselves. Yeah. So it's always an important thing to be able to watch themselves, just so they can say, oh man, like, what was I thinking? And that's really good to be able to show individuals that. I mean, professional athletes like to watch themselves just because they want to learn from them. So yeah, that's always a good thing to do.
My oldest likes to watch her videos alone. She doesn't want me talking.
Really?
She'll watch them. Yeah. She doesn't want to hear my voice at all. I'm like, she's at that point now. She listens more than I think she does, because I've seen her do things I've taught her, but she's like, basically say it once and leave me alone.
He's like Bobby Knight.
Yeah. She's just like,
I'm
like popping Steve Kerr. I'm over there like, what are you doing? Come on. I'll throw chairs. So moving into our main topic, man. What you got?
Yeah, so, main topic is talking about imitation of children, man. Like, I know for me, children, and I saw this quote the other day, which I thought was really, really cool. It says, most children hear what you say. Some even do what you say, but all children do what you do. And I wanted to ask you guys that, like, what do you guys think about that quote? Like, what do you think?
For me, man, that's real. That's really real. On some Kendrick. I'm, my kids are just kind of coming of age. We're getting to that point, and I'm just kind of getting to the point where I'm really, eyes are opening up to that. For me, I'm really starting to see that my actions and what I do are being watched. You're being watched harder than probably you ever have in your life by your child. They're going to see what you do and do what you do. And it's mind blowing to me to kind of think that doesn't matter what I say or what I tell them to do or what direction I point, they're going to follow the lead, right? They're going to follow the leader, that you lead by example. And I don't know why, in my work career, I've always put that first, but it took me a minute to kind of put it all together in a dad sense.
Yeah, because you said you were a manager, so you're a manager, so yeah, and that definitely, I'm the same. I'm a manager too in my position, and yeah, a lot of times you gotta lead by example, So that's, I appreciate to have the common knowledge of it when it comes to us being able to, especially being managers. You want to make sure that you are saying the right things, doing the right things, so that the people can follow the right way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about children hear what you say. Like, something happens, not catastrophically, but something crazy. I'll say, are you serious right now? My son says it all the time. He just goes, are you serious right now? And he puts his hands up like I do. I'm like, yeah, that's me. Yeah. Some even do what you say. That was my oldest, where I'm thinking she's not listening and it's repetition. And then I go out and I'm watching her play basketball and she does the exact things that I've been telling her to do. And it's like, oh, you are paying attention. She would be like, I know I'm tapping into sports a lot right now, but like Kawhi Leonard, when he was first under Pop could yell at Greg Popovich of the San Antonio Spurs, for those who are not aware of basketball. He could yell at Tim Duncan and Dave Robinson and all these other greats that played, and they would take it and they'd be like, sir, yes, sir. Kawhi would frown, be like, I don't need all that. And every kid is different, So when you approach them a certain way and they do what you say, it's like, oh, you were paying attention, and then all children do what you do. There are just certain things that they see you do it repetitiously because it's a part of who you are. There are some things I think, and I don't know the science behind it, but I think some things are just in them that you do. It's just it's in the blood.
Yeah,
they came from you.
Mm-hmm. And I was gonna say too, another thing my daughter, she gets a lot of stuff from me, which I never really thought of until I start seeing it. And she gets a lot of things from me when I was at her age. And one of those things was being silly. So she was a very silly little girl, and she's 10. And when I was 10 years old, I was silly. And it's just amazing how it goes back in the time when it comes to, it's not like you even meant for it to be imitation. It's just something that just like all of a sudden grows into them. All of a sudden, just came all of a sudden. It's like, oh man, I'm going to be silly. Like, well, I haven't been silly for the longest time, but now you want to be silly. I mean, I guess there are some times I am silly now, but it's just amazing that you can see them, or at least I can, and my children at their certain ages that they are now, and what ages I was when they were at the age. So 13 and 10, I am what they are now at those ages. So it's just interesting how that is when it comes to the imitation, like as far as what they are doing.
Can I ask a question? When you see yourself and your kids in that way, does it ever put a little bit of fear in you? Because I do the same. I see my kids act in a certain way or picking up a habit, whether they got it from me or if it's just genetically ingrained.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just wanted to say you're actually moving into the second question. So we were going to ask, what positive traits have any of your children followed so far in negative? So, proceed, keep going. You got
it. That's just a question, because I know with my kids, I see just little things. I am a storyteller, to say the least, right? Shout out to Carr from WFS. But when we were talking on one of our last episodes, he said there's like a 60-40 truth to lie split sometimes when you get information. And when I was a lot younger, I used to like to tell a lot of 60-40 stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Based on a true story.
Yeah, exactly. 60-40. There's truth in there, but you know, you got to sift it out. And I see my oldest doing that all the time. And you have to, I don't know, for me, it's like you sit and you wonder like, oh my gosh, out of all the traits you could have picked up from me, that's the one you got. And how do you like navigate that? I never really had anybody sit me down and say, hey, these are the consequences of this. I lived it. I learned it. Right. You get caught up in a lie or something of the other, comes back and twists on you. Just for one example, it's hard for me as a dad, since I never had somebody, you know, talk me out of that trait, to see it in my kid and know what's going to come from it, but find words to get a younger child to kind of understand why you don't bloviate or, you know, add in that sprinkle of unnecessary information or untrue information just to kind of make it sound good.
Trying to sprinkle a little salt, right?
Yeah, you know, you salt bay it a little bit.
You know, just to narrow the focus real quick on the lying thing. And I don't know how true it is for you, Rich, but, you know, we were both military brats and my parents moved around a lot. I've moved no less than 10 times.
Yeah. I'm a military brat too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You and I are both, but I was also an only child. I have a brother and sisters, but they didn't come until like way later. Right. And I didn't grow up with them even at that point. But there's those things when especially when you're younger and you're the new kid and you're trying to fit in and you tend to sprinkle. I did, at least I could admittedly say that I would sprinkle a little salt in there too, because I think it would make for a more entertaining story. It'd be a lot more fun to make people laugh because all I want to do is make people feel good. And I think that, I don't know if that's a trait of an only child who, you know, my mom and my biological father were divorced and it was just me and her for a long time. And I know you had that similar situation, Tre, or that same situation. She eventually got remarried. But, you know, before that, I mean, and even when she got remarried, there were still those habits that were formulated when I was a kid where I would do that. And so to answer your question specifically about the lying, what I do with my kids when I catch them in a lie is I say, look, tell the truth. That's something I've really focused on is I try to lay out the entire situation. And you've both have heard me do this. Sometimes you get the long version where it's just like, what happened? Okay, I'm going to give you the whole thing. Why? Because I want it to be important. It's important to me, at least, that you get the entire situation and be able to say, okay, here's where you were wrong. Here's where you were right. And also, if you know the child is wrong, right, they make that mistake and it's bad, you have to deliver some sort of, there's repercussions, right? There's some sort of punishment. But to quote Bane, you know, the punishment doesn't have to be more severe. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to do that. It's like, okay, dude, you lost X, Y, and Z, or maybe just X. You know, no tablets for the weekend, no electronics for the weekend, but you can go outside and play. I'll do that to my kids. Hey, no video games, no TV, no tablets, but you can go out and ride your bike.
Yeah, you can go out in that 100-degree heat.
You can color,
for lying.
right? You could color, you can draw, but you can't do all this other stuff.
Yeah.
What about you, Rich?
Yeah, I mean, my kids' personality traits, I can only imagine, like, I guess it depends. Like when it comes to lying, I guess the lying part, I mean, that's no good in our house. And we try to get them to let them know, hey, you know, this is the path you want to go down. This is by doing something, by lying, something, it's like they said, truth will set you free, right? And it says something, when it comes to the lying, I mean, like my kids, oh man, like they doing the stupidest things sometimes. Like, oh, did you brush your teeth? No. Like, golly,
like,
you know.
Yeah, like like just tell, like, it's not that serious. Like,
yeah,
seriously.
it's not that serious. And it's
Seriously.
like, golly, like, you know, did you do your homework? Well, because these F's are saying you didn't, you know, so it's
I mean, armpits smelling like onions, dude. It's like, you washed your armpits? Really? Did you?
what
yeah.
did you use?
Just,
what kind of soap did you use?
Because you smell like fajitas right now, not in the good way.
ooh, the best one, and this is the best one, is when you say, did you brush your teeth? And then they're like, yeah. And you go and see the dry toothbrush.
Yeah, that's
it's
it.
Like, come on, man. Like, well,
Man.
I didn't hear you. Like, oh my goodness.
My favorite one is did you eat that? No. You still got crumbs and you know, jam on your fingers. Like, what's all this chocolate sauce on your face?
Oh, I know. And it's
chocolate. It's doo-doo, baby. No, I'm playing.
and you know, so it's, I don't know. Like when it comes to the line, that is something that my kids, I always tell them, of course, it's like, oh, don't do it. You know, it's, especially with, you know, we're Christians and we don't condone that. You know, it's it's a sin, right? So
right.
That's something that I guess, but then of course you got my lawyer daughter is like, well, what if you want to surprise somebody for a birthday party? It's like, oh, really? You're gonna go there? Like,
that's what they do, though. That's what they do.
Like,
she caught you on that one, Pops.
Exactly. And I'm like, okay, well, there's certain things you got to think of. He's like, you know, so I mean, I guess it's all situational. Yeah, at least in my opinion.
Applied that logic on you quick, huh?
Yeah. She gets that from her mom with the lawyer thing.
That's gonna be your oldest right there, Tre.
Yeah, she does it already.
That right there.
She does that already. But what about this? Oh yeah, well, what about this? And man, and then sometimes they say something like a little grown person, and then you have to like remember that they're not grown and watch what you say or watch how you react.
Yeah, and I know I'm trying to think of like with positivity in the trait, you know, like I think, you know, I guess it depends on the trait. For my kids, one is the boy is a little shy in certain areas, but you know, I try to tell him, hey, you know, you don't have to be shy about things. But then, of course, back then I was shy, so I can't really say you can't be shy at this age of being 13. You know, so you just gotta condone it and make, you know, and reason with them and say, okay, you know, understand where they're going through if you know, when it comes to the personality trait that they have of you.
I also think that letting them learn from your experiences of having that trait, you know, especially I was a shy kid too. So my kid, I see that in her, but hey, you have to go out and you have to be the person to say hi first or to do this first or make those waves if that's what you want to do and get what you want. That's what it takes. Give them situations where you failed to do that. Try to make it real for them. I think that can help. I'm hoping that it helps. I guess I'm experimenting. We'll test my hypothesis and see what my conclusion draws.
We focused a lot on negative, right? The lying as a good example. What about positive traits? What have you seen in your kids that you think you have imparted unto them?
My kid's got a dope sense of humor, man. And I think that comes from me a lot of the time.
Both of them or just one of them?
The little one's not there yet. She's 2, man.
Okay.
It's where she's a great kid. She's very mean. My little one, actually. But the older one, man, she's got a great sense of humor. She talks a lot of mess, but it's like, you know, it's in good sporting, you know, brings that energy out of a conversation or can put life into a room. The way she kind of goes about it sometimes when she's comfortable. And I enjoy seeing that. I love seeing that. The type of jokes she makes, the way she laughs, little things like that. You know, those are things that come from me or come from them watching me and my genetics. It's a little bit of a combination. So
yeah.
What about you, Rich?
Well, when it comes to trying to think, my daughter's, and I mentioned this before, is that she's very silly, and silly to the degree of, well, I guess they both are silly, but she's a little more sillier than he is, and that's something that comes with me. Like, I like to play jokes a lot with the kids and the wife and anybody in my family. Just like to play jokes around, and they like to joke around, and I think that's really positive. Like you mentioned, sense of humor, because everything's not always about seriousness, at least in my eyes. But it's yeah, they're very fun kids, man. Like they're in this age where my daughter is into the making YouTube videos, and she had took my phone when I was at work, and I didn't even know this, but I had to take her to work, because I had to go back to work to get something, and then I go and look at my phone, and I see a video on my camera feed, and she's doing like a dance or something, and then she puts it on my YouTube channel, and I'm like, what? And then she gets like 130 views, and this was like a week, and I'm like, what in the world? Like, I think if I was that little, if I in that time frame, I probably would have done the same thing. But yeah, they are silly. They are silly. I mean, yeah, they like to play games and they like to play around, and that's one good positivity trait, at least from my kids, that they get from me. And what about you, E?
I would say same thing, but I'll defer. I'll go in a different direction. My kids are very affectionate. Tell my kids and my wife, tell all my family members, tell my friends. You both have heard me say it. I love you. I'm not afraid. I think that's one thing, not just as fathers, but as men, we should be more comfortable with telling other people, especially men in your life, how much you appreciate them and that you love them. There's nothing gay about it. It doesn't make you weaker. I don't want to talk. I want to squash the whole
toxic masculinity.
The whole thing, no, dude. I tell my kids all the time, I love you. Like, my kids will annoy me, right? They'll pull the whole, Dad, especially my son, Dad. What, man? I love you. I love you too, boy. My younger daughter does that. Hey, I want to tell you something. I was like, what's up? Like, I'll be in the middle of doing whatever. What's up? I love you, Daddy. Come on. Come get this hug.
Yo, I had that the other day. So my son did that, and I went to go walk into his room and, just check on him. And then he was like, and then I walk out and said, I love you, Dad. And I walked down. I'm like, wait, what? Oh, I came out of nowhere.
Yeah, man, they'll get you.
Yeah, and I was like, I love you too. And then I looked at him, and I looked at him like I was Puss in Boots with the look with the cat eyes. And he looked at me and he was like, okay, Dad, you're making this awkward. And closed his door. And I was like, oh man, like I ruined it. I mean, that was, and they catch you like that. I didn't even think that my son could do that. But my bad, take your moment though. I just had to say
No, you didn't take my moment at all. I mean, this is all of us talking and sharing stuff together, man. Like,
it's the little things though, man. It's little things. Yeah. Like, Daddy, we watched Superman, Daddy. I think that you could be both Superman and the bad Superman and another Superman. And you're my favorite person and I love you. And I'm like, oh man, catch your heart. But you're so wrong. But I love you.
Then you're in the gym trying to like push some weight, so you can be prepared for these 5 Supermans you about to face. But
I'm gonna be waiting for Trey. He's gonna be standing outside my house in the rain with his eyes glowing. Talk about.
Tell me, do you bleed? You will,
man.
You already know. My dad is steel. He's the bad dad. Work together. Hey, so little fun here. Let's talk about some personality traits. So you mentioned earlier, Trey, how your kids are different from each other. Like you said, one's like a coin and the other one's $1. I thought that was kind of a fun thing. Do you think personality trait wise, one gets more from you or one and the other gets one from, more from your wife, or do you think it's kind of a balance?
I mean, that's a yes or no question, I guess. They are their own people, but their personality traits do come, I think, from us. And honestly, I find it more family member trait, like my sister. I see a lot of my sister and my oldest daughter, the way she acts, her personality, than I do me. She gets a lot of things, a lot of traits from me as she sees me every day, but just watching her grow up, the way she acts, the way she does certain type of things, the things she likes. Her favorite color is baby blue. It was my sister's favorite color for I don't know how long.
Gotcha.
Just little things. And then my youngest one takes from my wife's side of the family. Her mom, she looks a lot like her mom, to me at least. Like, she doesn't look like me. She doesn't look like her. She looks a lot like her mom. Of course, she looks like us, right? But she gets a lot of things from there. And I have to see, as the little Tasmanian devil grows to be a little bit older, to kind of piece those traits to certain people, because that little kid she's a sweetheart. But she's a wild child too. The things they say about the second one are true, at least in my case. Like, my first one was easy. She was, yes, daddy, whatever yes, mommy. Okay.
Yes, mother. Yes, father.
And my other one's like, hey, don't you touch that. I'm not going to touch it, but I'm going to get closer. Don't you touch that. I'm not going to touch it, but I'm getting closer. I'm not touching it.
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Look, I touched it, and then she runs away. Like, she tries me in that kind of way, man. So it's a trip to see the same situation, but they're so different. Long, tall, short, stubby, just everything. They're complete opposites almost.
It's crazy how that works, right?
Yeah, that is so crazy. It's so crazy, but it's kind of annoying. Like, I wish both my kids, or at least all multiple children, are the same. Like, they, like you mentioned, your first child was cake. Like, that's how mine was. My son was cake, and then the daughter was just like, I'm gonna push your buttons because the first one didn't do it. So it's like, okay. And it's just interesting to hear that from another perspective.
Yeah, we lucked out. My first two are actually pretty cake. My younger daughter just acts a little bit more weird. I mean that in a loving way. She's just, if I had to like do an archetype, right? My oldest is probably like a mix of, she's probably more Capricorny, but she's a Virgo, right? She's a lot more like my wife, like my mom. Kind of reminds me of my cousin Chartel a little bit. And then she's got sprinkles of me in there too, where like her temper, she can be a little tempery. She's very loving, very nurturing. My younger daughter is a lot more silly, like I am. She's probably she's an interesting hybrid of personality, but she's also like my wife, where when she's ready to be alone, and they're both my girls are like this. When they're ready to be alone, they go. They just disappear. They go. It's shutdown time. My son is pretty much me. I can't really think of too many people in my family that he might be like. He's a lot like me. He's very James. We're loud. As far as like our side of the family tray, that the slick, fast talking, that's probably my younger daughter, and my oldest is a balance of both. She can be loud, she can talk stuff, but she's very like chill and laid back. Whereas the other two are a lot more extremes, personality trait wise. Yeah. Hey, do you guys just as a and we're coming up in overtime here. So we try to keep the show about an hour. So anything past an hour, we call that overtime now. So if you hear us say OT, it's like, oh, we've crossed the hour mark. Do you guys remember what you were like when you were a child, or do you think your children have mimicked any behavior you've seen in them so far around that same age? not really even mimic, but just traits you share?
I mean, for me, it was my son. And when I was 12, and I remember we had a moment. We were living in Kentucky, and I was such a goofy little kid, and just my voice. I had a voice, a really high pitched voice, and he has that too. He just doesn't know it. And so, of course, when he gets excited, when my family, when we get excited, we have that distinct volume, I guess that's the word. And that's something that, and during that time frame of me being younger, he has the same volume that I had at that age. And my daughter, she's the same way. She's like, I think she'll get there when she's at that age of like 12 or 13 too. Like she'll have that volume, and that's something that's in our genes. Like in our genes, we have the high pitched volume. And my mom, if she, when she's listening to this, she'll know what we're talking about when it comes to our family. And my kids have that. Like they're like, wait, what? And it's really loud. And another thing too is during the age of, I was playing basketball around 12 or 13 years old. And that's when the basketball, I was more into it. And that's where my son is into it. And it's a sports period because my daughter likes to play baseball or softball. Cause that came out of left field, to tell you the truth. I didn't think that she would like softball until she picked up a glove and started catching with us one day. But with my children, it comes to them loving sports, and they really, that's one thing that I liked back in the day, and that they like now during that time. That's, and it's crazy how, and the thing is, I didn't even want it to be an influence on that. And I'm the type of dad, I want you to do what you want to do. I want you to pick your own path. I'm just there to support it. And if you want to be a ballerina and play violin, I'm gonna support you. No, I didn't do that growing up, but I'll support you regardless, because that's what dads do and parents do. They support your dreams and aspirations. And so that's, but when they decided to pick up the basketball, dribble down the court and see that they are good at it, or pick up a baseball and start playing catch and she's good at it, that made me proud. I was like, okay, cool. This is awesome.
Nice.
For me, one thing that I think is kind of cool with just thinking back to me as a 6 or 7 year old, my kid has a love for superheroes, video games at a very young age. And those are things that, just really resonate with me. It's nice to know not only does she like superheroes, she likes the same ones that I do. I don't know if that's influence or not. I, show her everything. She picks things. She's been running through my house like the Flash for like 3 weeks now. Just wild
DC
or emotions. The DC, the latest one that came out where he runs all looking like he's trying to swim or ice skate or something, but that's what she's doing.
No, I'm saying, are you DC or are you Marvel?
Oh, I'm DC all the way, dude. I'm a Batman.
Okay, cool. All right, just curious.
Yeah, Batman all the way.
He does like Spider-Man, though.
I do like Spider-Man.
Just like you do.
Yeah. I love me some Spidey. It's my favorite Marvel character, but Batman overall for me. So we were just talking about what do you want to be for Halloween. She's like, well, are you going to be Batman? I'm like, probably. And she's like, I think I'm going to be Spider-Gwen. I'm like, that's what you were last year. She's like, but that's what I want to be. So we're fighting about that right now. But it's just cool to see that love, and you put it on, she sticks there, jumping off the couch with a makeshift whatever on that she can, or on her bed, jumping on her bed, doing high kicks. It's like, man, it's pretty cool.
That's cool. We're coming up on it, guys. So I'll just say real quick, superhero things for me too. The kids are into that. They play games. They play sports. So, but the biggest thing all three of them share with me is just their creativity. Growing up an only child, didn't have any siblings. I always had to find a way to entertain myself and they're all do that same thing. They play very well as individuals. They play well together, and they've got wonderful imaginations. And so I just love seeing it all come together.
Yeah. It's awesome just to see it.
But yeah, fellas, Tre, thank you for being on the show, man, being our first dad voice. We'll have you back again sometime in the near future. We're building up our, what we call the Dad-verse. So
I knew it.
We're going to have more and more dads. You know, you'll be seeing more of Tre. Hey, he might even fill in for one of us if we decide to take breaks or whatever. So it'll be great to have you back, man. Love you and appreciate you. Got any other words?
Appreciate you, man.
Big Rich.
Yeah, man, of course.
Yeah, next time I come down there, man, gotta do some chilling out, man.
Oh, yeah, we definitely got to kick it, man. Thanks for having me, guys. Anytime you need me, I'll be here, man. I'll be happy to step in or just pop in for a moment. If you got a question, let me know. Be happy to bring
Absolutely.
It up.
And for all of you, this is a PSA, by the way. All of you out there who are going out and trying to get yourself the new iPhone 15, I'm going to give you a heads up. Never fart in an Apple store because they don't have Windows.
Boom.
And with that, we out.
Let's do the mic drop.